Hello and good evening from me and Charlie. Charlie wanted to keep me company tonight. I'm Amy, and tonight's live around 5. This week, we're talking about why you're not achieving your goals. And one of the things that we realized was really standing in the way was overwhelm. Like, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, having this little guy with you will certainly help you focus on what's important. Of course, all he wants, yeah, say hi, Charlie. Say hi. So, have you ever felt overwhelmed? Just like you can't keep up with everything. There's too many responsibilities, there's too many projects, and it gets to the point where that overwhelm begins to take over and kind of debilitate what you can even make happen in your life, in your home. You can't even figure out how to make dinner. He loves it when I scoop him up with my shirt like this. So let's do that with one little, yeah. Hey, Charlie. And what happens when we get overwhelmed are a few things that we can keep an eye out for. One is decreased motivation. Sometimes we're so overwhelmed, it doesn't even feel like we could try. Like, even trying is kind of tricky. And when our goals feel so big, like I want to make $1 million a year, that feels too big to us, right? It's not really easy for me to say achievable. Oh, goodness, sneezing with a puppy. See, sometimes you can feel overwhelmed and keep on going. He's sneezing with me. So sometimes our goals can feel so out of control big, we get overwhelmed and we're not motivated. We realize that because of our overwhelm, we just can't even think to move forward. The second thing that can happen is we can feel a lack of focus. When you've got 22 jobs and you can't focus on even one of them, or when those each feel like you can't tell which one is the most important. Like right now, Charlie wants to get down before he wanted to get up. So that's the most important thing, is to give him a minute to be let down. Um, and sometimes our goals and what's important and what needs to be focused on is super obvious because something in our lives becomes urgent. That can often then lead to overwhelm as well. So the lack of focus can be overwhelming, but unfortunately, sometimes emergencies focus us, or panics focus us, or huge life events focus us. And when you're dealing with a sick family member, an illness yourself, graduation, we've got a lot of graduations coming up, a big holiday, maybe Mother's Day. That can feel like you don't even know where to focus until something urgent happens, and then you can get a hold of it. But then you might get overwhelmed. So I want you to try to manage your overwhelm, break what you're dealing with into smaller pieces, and prioritize what you're doing. When you prioritize what you're doing, I want you to realize there are some things that absolutely have to be done. We used to call those, in the beginning of when we started sharing here, it was glass balls and rubber balls. We're all juggling these responsibilities, and each responsibility is represented by a ball. And when we throw the rubber balls up, if we drop them, they keep bouncing. But the glass balls, we know we have to grab right away. Pick the kids up from school. Make sure the kids get their sports physical before they go back to school so they can play sports. Make sure that the kids get to their doctor's appointments. Make sure the groceries in the house so everybody has food to eat. Make sure the work deadlines are met. Sometimes we let things that don't feel so important, we think of them as rubber balls. I don't really need to work out. I don't really need to take my supplements, until those things become urgent. The rubber balls turn into glass balls. And that's what happens with our health so often, is it's not urgent. So we push it aside. We don't focus on it, and we let it go. And then it turns back on us and makes us focus. It can take us into an overwhelmed space, because then all we can focus on is our wellness or our family's wellness. The next thing is procrastination. I am really somebody who works on this a lot, because for me, procrastination feels like inspiration sometimes. Am I an ENFJ and a 3 or what? Those are some personality types. But I can procrastinate to the point where I get overwhelmed. I will tell you that as I've aged, as I've gotten older and wiser, I procrastinate less because I'm able to do less in the moment. I used to be able to stay up all night, no problem, like push through, get the work done. Now I know I really can't do that and still feel great the next day. After I was ill, I knew for sure I needed to take better care of myself and not rely on taking money out of my health bank to pay for my procrastination. So sometimes when we procrastinate so long, we get overwhelmed and it shuts us down again. And last but not least is burnout. A lot of the times, the reason that we feel overwhelmed is we've just got too much going on. Come here, boo boo. Charlie wants to get up now. But as long as we're focused on the right things, like Charlie, it's all going to be okay. How does burnout happen? Burnout happens when we are literally just working ourselves so hard and we're so overwhelmed that it becomes a vicious cycle. We keep working so hard and then we're overwhelmed. We trying to work our way out of it. And that's just not a good plan. It doesn't work. And part of burnout, that one of the best things I've ever heard somebody describe burnout as, is that it's really the responsibility of both parties in the relationship. So let's say you're feeling burned out at work. It's really not work abusing you. It's really the fact that you're not setting clear boundaries with work. You're not being clear about what you're capable of, about what your responsibilities are if they're overwhelming. You need to have an open line of communication. If then your work says, sorry, you got to keep doing it, you can look for another job. But it's not suffer in silence and keep going. It's the same at home. If you feel like you're completely overwhelmed at home and you're burned out and you begin to get resentful, you've become part of the problem. It's really important to own and say, I haven't been setting proper boundaries. I have been feeling very overwhelmed because I'm burned out and I need to take a better approach to my list of responsibilities. Let's switch them up. Let's tag in and tag out. I want to do something different for a while, or I need more help in this specific area. Part of why we don't reach our goals when we're overwhelmed is that we simply can't get ourselves any level of success. So, one of the hacks I'm going to teach you is to make a goal that is achievable every single day. If you've ever heard the book about I think it was a Marine that recommended making your bed every single day. That's one of the reasons that he recommended that. Because when you make your bed every single day, you've already started out your day by achieving something. You've set something right. You've done something well, and you've checked something off your list. There's scientific data to prove that when we check something off our list, when we snuggle with a puppy, when we achieve something, it literally sets off endorphins for us, and it helps us be able to move on to the next task and not feel so overwhelmed. So snuggle with a puppy. That's you, Charlie. Set your list of things that you need to do reasonably. Give yourself something successful to do every single day. Give yourself the chance to focus and give yourself something that's going to motivate you. For example, when I do a certain amount of my work, I get to have more snuggle time with Charlie. I hope you have a great night. I can't wait to see you back here when we're going to continue to explore the things that are keeping a lot of us from reaching our goals and what we can do about them. Take care, everybody. Love you.